So, this time for something completely different. Now, this fix came up on the internet, actually just last month, or, well, 2 months, or, well, August, and it's already gained the ridiculous amount of attention in that short amount of span. Like, seriously, on fanfiction, it already has over 4,000 reviews.
Actually, now it has over 4,500 reviews.
Yes. So what we are reading today is Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles, close parentheses.
Now, this is, actually an apt time of year to be reading this, because after all, that horrible pagan celebration of Halloween is coming up.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Horrible indeed.
Oh yes, Halloween, the season of reading Junji Ito mangas, or at least that's what I've been doing. Because I was reading Tomie, and it was kind of cool, but then it just ended on volume 2 without any real closure. I'm like, that's it? But then there was a third extra volume, so it's like, okay, maybe that'll fix things, so I don't know.
This is the time of year in which, according to a very, very small portion of our country's population, I mean, speaking as an American here, a very small portion of our population believes that our children are being enticed to participate in witchcraft, Satanism, and human sacrifice. Because obviously, a holiday that encourages you to go around asking for candy and dressing up in costumes and taking a night off from reality is completely satanic.
I already have my costume totes ready. It's Cuvier from Vampire Kiosks, the most gloriously stupid show of last year or this year. I know, so awesomely dumb.
I'm just going in my usual costume that I wear every year, my Ice Wizard, which means 3 hours of doing makeup, but it's such an awesome costume.
I have a hard time doing makeup and costumes. Did one for Kefka, makeup gave me some allergies.
Whereas I guess I will just have to get my Hall-Ultra costume again, which,
yes!
For that I'll first have to get my sister to send me that, because, well, I've returned to the university and I didn't have room for it in my suitcase.
And then NecoCon's coming up directly after Halloween, and I'm going as Femme Lysander, because my boyfriend is going as Professor Sycamore.
Fill me in. What is NecoCon?
It's an anime convention that I go to because it's the most convenient. It's the most convenient convention to get to between where I live and where my friends live.
By the way, before we start this, one other thing, since we were briefly mentioning the Cinema Snob and regarding that guy with the glasses, what did you people think about a certain cameo at the start of the latest Nostalgia Critic review?
I actually haven't seen the latest Nostalgia Critic review.
Yeah, that one was pretty hilarious. But I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
Oh, come on, it's all over. It's all
I won't give away too much. It's pretty cool, but I don't know. Since he brought that certain review up, I have a hard time telling if it beats Brettelfloss as Mr. Clean, because Brettelfloss looks like Mr. Clean. So watching him as Mr. Clean was so just random and at the same time brilliant.
Anyway,
but that was still a cool cameo. I hope he joins the That Guy with the Glasses staff in the name of Itch.
That being said, so this fiction is, I mean, I'm sure everyone out there is familiar with the Harry Potter series. A series that was considered controversial by some fundamentalist Christian groups as promoting witchcraft. Even though in the books there is nothing detailed as them praying to the devil or doing anything to actually gain their powers, and it's more that having magic is a natural talent you're born with.
Also, Harry Potter has Christian messages. It's not exactly subtle. I mean, Harry is literally Jesus in the final book.
Not to mention the fact that Slytherin, the house that Voldemort came from, is represented by the image of a snake, which is typically representative of evil in Christian writings, namely, the Bible. Now, for this reading, I'm going to be here as the consulting Christian who's had to go through years of Bible study to actually vaguely understand this stuff. No lie, that is actually something you have to do when you're Catholic in the area of the world I come from.
Whereas I am just here as, well, I'm an atheist, so I don't actually believe any of this stuff at all, but I'm going to try to not get too horribly offensive with that, because, well, this has been horribly offensive enough as it is.
We're reading the Harry Potter fic right now. The Harry Potter, Prayer and Miracles. Sorry. Anyway. So yes, this story is a concerned mother's attempt to make the Harry Potter books acceptable for her young children. Could I read the description actually here?
Well, yes, I actually figured you could probably do the author's notes, but try to just sound extremely stupid while doing it.
Do you want your little ones to read books? And they want to read the Harry Potter books, but you do not want them to turn into witches? Well, this is the story for you. This story has all the adventure of JKR's books, but will not lead your children astray. For concerned mommies everywhere, blessings, Grace Ann.
Yeah.
Why is she using
reading Harry
semicolons
Potter,
as commas?
Hmm?
Like right off the bat in the author's, she's using semicolons as commas.
Also, yes, because reading Harry Potter turns you into a wizard or a witch. I can totally do magic.
Yes, I can totally do magic after reading
I don't know.
each book.
I haven't seen my brother pull off any magic. He was into them. Didn't really like the 6th book. But other than that, not too much else I know.
Well, I was into them when they were at their height, and I read each book at least 4 times. And, well, I can say A, I'm certainly not a Satan worshipper, and B, I can't do magic as far as I'm aware of.
So,
Also, speaking of Catholic faith-based films, did any of you see The Identical? It was so amazingly bad!
I'm afraid that I try to avoid propaganda movies just because they tend to irritate me.
and could we please
This
get
one isn't
started
really a
soon?
propaganda, it's just some people wanted to make...
Torgo,
Right,
you need to get started.
right, but yeah.
Right, so Nimbus, could you read the author's note and start to them?
Yes. Author's note. Hello, friends. My name is Grace Ann. I'm new to this whole fanfiction thing, but recently I've encountered a problem that I believe this is the solution to. My little ones have been asking to read the Harry Potter books, and of course I'm happy for them to be reading, but I don't want them turning into witches. So I thought, why not make some slight changes so these books are family friendly? And then I thought, why not share this with all the other mommies who are facing the same problem? So, ta-da! Here it is! I am so excited to share this with all of you. So, without further ado...
No offense to the mommies who share this problem, but you are idiots.
To be honest, the Harry Potter books are a really good series for young children who are trying to bridge from a lower to a higher reading level. They're not overly complicated. There isn't a lot of, they're not full of, it's not like they're reading Game of Thrones or anything. There's not a lot of language or sex. It's just a nice fantasy story. Not too high of a reading level, but you go from the lower to the higher, and it's actually really good for getting children to stretch their attention spans. Like, I'd say that... Yeah. So.
Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Harry Potter who lived under the stairs in a house on Privet Drive with his aunt and uncle. He was a good, obedient boy who did all his chores, but he felt there was something missing in his life. Something big and special, but he could not quite name it. He stayed up every night and wished for his special something. But then, one day, there was a knock at his door and everything changed. What was with that hyphen? Like, it makes it look like door and is meant to be part of the same word.
I think she was attempting to insert a dramatic pause.
Well, the first result is door and window, apparently. So, it is symbolic of his new window!
So, who should voice Aunt Petunia, perhaps?
I will. I can be Screechy. Except in this story, she's not a bad person at all. Answer the door, Harry!
His Aunt Petunia, a career woman, barked from her armchair where she sat with her feet up. She had short, curly blonde hair and never wore any makeup.
Now see that?
Uncle
That's what...
Vernon
hold
nodded
on.
sheepishly from the kitchen.
I need to point something out that confuses me. Usually, from what I've experienced, in denominations where hair length is indicative of whether you're a good Christian or not, you generally aren't supposed to wear makeup. Because generally, there are certain denominations where, like, oh, women have to have long hair. And when I say certain denominations, I mean the very fundamentalist, very, 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 very old-fashioned literalists, very minority group. But, okay, she's got short hair. That obviously means she's not Christian. But why is the fact that she never wore any makeup an issue? Anyway.
I have no idea, honestly.
Go ahead,
Unless
go
this
ahead.
is called
There
back
is sort of an explanation later, but it makes no sense. Uncle Vernon nodded sheepishly from the kitchen and put a tray of moist chocolatey brownies in the oven.
Oh no, he's a man and he's cooking!
Shouldn't you be doing that? Harry thought.
But of
Shouldn't
course
you
he's
be
an
doing
obedient
what?
little boy who does all of his chores. And yet, of course the woman should be answering the door.
I'm not sure if he's referring to answering the door or baking the cookies, though, but yeah. Harry thought, but he was a very obedient young boy, so he answered the door right away. He turned the brass metal doorknob and pulled open the heavy wooden door. Congratulations, 2 sentences explaining the exact same thing. On the porch was standing a huge, muscular man with a big manly beard, and he was dressed in a plain red t-shirt, blue jeans, and sturdy leather boots.
He's a lumberjack!
I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay.
His chest was covered in a thick, unruly carpet of coarse brown hair. How could you
Wonderful.
tell he was wearing a shirt?
No, this is the first of many times we'll hear about the other character's chest hair.
Yes. He wore a necklace that looked to Harry like a lowercase t. Just looking at Harry feel happy peaceful somehow, but he couldn't say why. And I seem to recall in My Immortal wasn't Nimbus doing the voice of Hagrid?
Oh, that's right. But no, I was voicing Hagrid.
Ah yes, of course, completely different character.
Good morning.
I'm trying to do a deep voice. Good morning, kiddo.
The man greeted amiably, or how does that even pronounce?
Amiably.
Okay,
You got it right.
And smiled at Harry. He had the peaceful, friendly sort of face you just knew you could trust.
Which obviously means he's a pedophile. No, seriously, I hate how immediately the adults are so trustworthy in this story. It's like, they're almost too friendly. Like, they're all going to be pedos or something.
Why, yes. Yes, there are rather creepy undertones to all this, aren't there?
My name is Hagrid. Can I speak to your mommy and daddy?
I don't have a mommy or daddy, Harry replied sadly, and looked at his raggedy old shoes that were blue. Perhaps that was why he felt so lonely, he thought. Not for the first time. Maybe that was what he was missing. A mommy and daddy. But nah, that wasn't quite right.
Why is he missing his mom and dad?
No idea.
I am so sorry to hear that.
Hagrid uttered empathetically. And Yeah, by the way, thing here, this author has a ridiculous aversion to the word said and is way too fond of adverbs.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak with my auntie and uncle, Harry retorted politely. Excuse me, gotta look up what retort actually means.
Not that.
To say something in answer to a remark, typically in a sharp, angry, or witty manner. Yes, you can talk to my aunt and uncle instead, is very witty and angry.
He retorted politely.
Yes. And blinked his big blue childlike eyes.
He's got green eyes. That's a major point of his character.
Not in the movies.
What,
That's
is this
true.
Big Trouble in Little China now? Oh wait, this is a dude with green eyes. Sorry.
What do you want?
Aunt Petunia peered out of the door with her narrow, suspicious eyes, and she was wearing a baggy, unflattering pantsuit.
Oh no, she's unattractive! She's an unattractive adult in this story. That must mean that she's not Christian.
Symbolism!
Hello, neighbor. I was just wondering if you have been saved.
Hagrid exclaimed brightly, and tipped his wide-brimmed straw cowboy hat. Aunt Petunia laughed a gravelly laugh, and leaned forward on her sturdy, practical boots.
Wait. She's wearing boots, but Hagrid's also wearing boots. I'm confused now! What's the mark of a Christian?
Well, obviously it's wrong when she is doing it because she is a woman. She should just be dressing
that's true. She's a
dressing
woman, but
prettily
she's wearing
and just
manly
stay in the
boots.
kitchen.
Saved? Don't tell me you are one of those Christians.
And just disclaimer, I do not honestly believe that at all, but this author clearly does.
Oh wait, sorry, I read it wrong. Saved? Don't tell me you one of those Christians.
Harry did not know what that word meant, but Hagrid's smile was the most peaceful smile he had ever seen. It made Harry feel warm and happy inside just seeing the glowing, radiant grin on the kind, friendly stranger's face.
Bad touch warning! Bad touch warning!
He wondered why Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon did not smile like that.
Yes, I am.
Hagrid replied kindly.
Are you?
Aunt Petunia laughed again and stuck her pointy, sharp nose up in the air.
We are too smart for that. Haven't you read Dawkins? God is dead. Dawkins proved that. Would you like us to educate you on the Dawkins? Wrong person for who said God is dead.
I'm pretty sure it was Nietzsche, but that's not even the full sentence. He said, God is dead and man has killed him. Whether you agree or disagree with that line, it's only taking a part of it out of context, and the original meaning was to suggest it was his idea that whether we had a god or not, we are still living and doing functions regardless.
Also, it was a line in a story.
Anyway.
What is a Christian? Harry queried innocently, and scuffled his shoe on the shaggy yellow carpet, which had not been vacuumed in quite some time.
Oh no, their household is dirty, which means it's dysfunctional, which means that it's not Christian! Christians are people who want to be good. No, that's not the entire definition.
Indeed, it's not even something unique to Christians.
My
I'm
boyfriend
pretty
is
sure
an agnostic, and he's like one of the goodest people I know.
That is just some of the most heavy-handed, doesn't even begin to describe that.
I know. It's like it's like if you took a heavy hand, strapped some bricks to it, and then dipped it in molten lead and waited for it to dry.
Hagrid explained wisely and crouched down so he was on eye level with Harry.
We want to go to heaven after we die. Do you know what heaven is, Harry?
Oh yeah,
You know,
it's where blood killed all the angeloids.
You know, I'm going to have to just borrow a joke from someone else here, though. But yes, I am an 11-year-old kid living in a suburb in America, and I have never in my entire life heard about Jesus before. Because, by the way, this story is set in America.
Yes, because England isn't Christian enough.
No, actually, I think it's more because this author doesn't know that the world outside of America exists.
That's true.
Harry shook his head, and his big eyes were wide and curious.
Heaven is a beautiful place where we can be with God.
Aunt Petunia smacked her hands over Harry's young ears, and her voice was sickly sweet when she said,
Thank you very much for your concern, sir, but he does not need your religion. He has science and socialism and birthdays. Haven't you heard of evolution? I have a very good textbook on evolution that I could give you on it if you would like to learn things.
Note, things. Because this author has no idea what evolution is about.
Learning is evil. Learning things is evil.
No, learning things that contradict the Bible is evil.
But evolution doesn't contradict the Bible unless you take Genesis 100% literally. Which I honestly think taking Genesis literally is an insult to God because it just sort of simplifies... The whole point of the first couple of chapters of Genesis is it simplifies creation to a human understanding. You're not supposed to take it literally, at least not in my understanding, because that's just too freaking simple.
If we're gonna use religious interpretations here, while I am an atheist, and while I haven't actually gone to see Darren Aronofsky's Noah yet, I do at least like from what I heard, his interpretation that God created evolution. I mean, I think it's something legitimately intriguing. I've only seen that creation sequence from the film, but it is a fantastic scene.
Yeah, okay, my whole issue, and again, this isn't... I don't have as much issue with people that genuinely do believe in creationism, so long as they don't, start telling people who believe in evolution that they're evil. You can believe what you want, but personally, and I guess this is kind of an editorial on my part, I feel like taking the universe and simplifying it, as a Catholic, I find that as an insult to the genius of God. Because, okay, who's running a vacuum?
Sorry, there's some dust in my cooling stand, so I have to blow it out.
Okay, well, I guess my whole point is, I learned science because I'm Catholic. Because I feel like I should try to make an effort to understand the universe. Because the universe is a gift, and therefore I should try to know the universe to its fullest. That's the end of my editorial. Continue.
Right, so, let me see, yes. Hagrid laughed wisely.
Evolution is a fairy tale. You don't really believe that, do you?
No, okay, hold on. So, you are telling a woman off for believing something that she has evidence for. You're bashing someone for their beliefs. You, as a Christian, are bashing someone for their beliefs.
Their beliefs, which, by the way, have way more evidence to it than God created the world in 6 days.
6 metaphorical days.
Just to be sure, we're not condoning either side. We're just simply saying that Hagrid here is being an oppressive asshole. Who isn't even bothering trying to argue or philosophize. He just goes straight for the ad hominem.
Regardless of what you think, I mean, I might go editorial here, but this fiction is wrong.
Anyway, yes I do.
Yes, I do.
Aunt Petunia screeched.
Well, then prove it.
Aunt Petunia could only stare at him, and her big mouth hung open dumbly. Here she thought she was so educated and always demanded that Christians prove what they believed in, but she couldn't even prove her own religion.
It's not a religion, it's science.
Yes, it was then that Harry knew who the smart one here was. All the face palms. Also, note, of course, Harry has heard like 2 sentences about Christianity and he's already completely on board with it.
Well, I mean, he is an 11-year-old child.
I don't think 11-year-olds are quite that gullible anymore.
Sorry, I had a phone call. What were you in the middle of?
I mean, if it strikes him emotionally, that's fine. It's still really unrealistic, but if it strikes him emotionally, that's fine. That's not the most out-of-place thing in this story. There are far worse things in this story.
Tell me how to get to this heaven place. Harry cried wistfully, clasping his hands together. Sometimes the wisdom of little ones is really amazing. We think we grown-ups know it all, but then God speaks through the mouths of little ones and shows us how we are all mortals struggling along the path of life. Humility. The one thing that this author clearly does not possess.
All you have to do is be saved. Do you want to be saved?
I do! Harry squealed, jumping up and down.
Then pray the sinner's prayer.
Oh, and let me just say here, I find the whole viewpoint that all you have to do to gain eternal happiness is believe in Jesus to be kind of terrible. Like they're saying that whatever good deeds you do in life doesn't matter. You have to just pray to Jesus and then you are guaranteed eternal happiness. And if you don't pray to God and Jesus, then you are going to burn for all eternity.
Yeah, that's another reason why I really don't like this author.
Aunt Petunia tried to stop him, but she was powerless against Harry's pure, innocent, holy energy. Soon, Harry had
What exactly was she trying to do? Was she trying to stop him from praying, but he was throwing up a force field of pure, innocent, holy energy?
Also, is there even such a thing as a sinner's prayer?
It's typically referred to in, I'm not sure if it's different in this denomination, but there is what's called the act of contrition in Catholicism, which is a prayer saying, I have sinned, forgive me, basically.
Soon, Harry had said the prayer. Hagrid beamed happily.
You're a Christian now, Harry.
Hagrid cried proudly. Harry smiled, but then interrogated. But how do I be a Christian? I don't know how. Hagrid grinned wildly.
There is only one place to learn that. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles.
Author's note. So what do you all think? I may not be a professional writer, but I think I am being given the talent to pull this off in the service of a greater mission. Equal close parentheses. Blessings! Grace Ann. And that's another thing that I feel insulted by her. Considering J.K. Rowling went from having next to nothing to being, a famous author, she was... What are you going to blame that on? That she used witchcraft?
Well, obviously. I mean, never mind the fact that J.K. Rowling is also a Christian.
No, she clearly used the devil's power to become famous by representing his work in her terrible Harry Potter books to try and turn young children into witches.
Maybe the person writing this is actually from the fictional world. It's actually Carrie White's mom. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe soon enough we'll see Sissy Spacek blowing up John Travolta's car. I have no clue.